All right, everybody, get ready for a wild story today. We're taking a deep dive into what happens when a baseball stadium, a place for home runs and hot dogs, suddenly turns into a hurricane haven.
Yeah, a haven that, well, we'll get into that.
Right, right. So picture this. Tropicana Field, the Tampa Bay Rays home turf. Transformed, but not for a game. We're talking about rows and rows of empty cots, thousands of them, all prepped and ready.
This was Hurricane Milton we're talking about, and it was looking like it was heading straight for Tampa Bay.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. Governor DeSantis was urging everyone to evacuate, take it seriously. They weren't taking any chances. They were getting Tropicana Field ready to be this massive base camp.
For like first responders and stuff.
Exactly. First responders, cleanup crews, you name it. 10,000 cots just sitting there on the field. It's a weird thing to imagine, Empty stadium, the quiet before the storm.
Eerie is the word I'd use. By the way, didn't they build Tropicana Field with a funky roof? Something to do with hurricanes, right?
That's right. They designed that slanted roof partly to handle hurricane force winds, which makes what happened next even crazier.
Okay, hold up. Before we get to the what happened next, let's talk about Hurricane Milton. Just how strong we're talking.
Fucking did.
Well, for a while there,
Yeah, it did.
Milton was
The red
one scary customer. It went through this thing, it's called rapid intensification, where a hurricane basically goes from like 0 to 60 in no time.
Wait, seriously? That fast?
Yeah, that's why they can be so hard to predict. Anyway, Milton's winds got up to 180 miles an hour. Can you believe that? Category 4, off the charts.
Wow. So were they expecting it to hit Florida at that strength?
They were worried, that's for sure. I mean, the National Hurricane Center, they were saying Milton could be one of the most destructive they'd ever seen in that region. Plus, you're talking about a potential of 18 inches of rain in some areas.
18 inches. Geez, that's more than a foot of rain. Okay, so we've got a monster hurricane on its way. Everyone's on edge. Tropicana Field is prepped and ready. But then what?
Well, that's where things take a turn, because it turns out not everyone was convinced Tropicana Field could handle the full force of Hurricane Milton.
Who wasn't convinced? Who wasn't convinced?
The Tampa Bay Rays, of all people.
Really? Their own stadium.
Yeah, and you can't blame them for being a little hesitant. Think about it. All those hurricane-resistant designs, they're based on models and predictions, right?
Right.
And as we were saying, rapid intensification throws a real wrench in those predictions. It's like Mother Nature doesn't always read the script.
So even with the best designs, there's still that element of uncertainty. You just never know.
Exactly. And the Rays, gotta give them credit, they seem to get that. Like, they stepped back and said, hold on, this stadium might look good on paper, but are we really going to risk people's lives on that?
Wow. So they were going up against, what, the state government at that point? Who are they even saying this to?
Well, they raised enough concerns, really put their foot down about whether Tropicana Field could truly handle a direct hit from a Category 4, especially one that had gone through rapid intensification like Milton. Remember, this wasn't just anyone. These were the people who knew that stadium inside and out.
Makes sense. So what did the Rays do? Just say, no way?
Pretty much. And, well, turns out their gut feeling was right. Because, get this.
What? Don't leave me hanging.
Hurricane Milton, almost like it was trying to prove their point, ended up ripping a chunk of Tropicana Field's roof right off.
No way. I saw that footage. It's nuts. You can see the wind just tearing into that roof. You're kidding me. That's insane. It's a miracle no one got hurt.
That's the thing. The Tampa Bay Rays, by being cautious, questioning the safety of their own stadium, they very likely saved lives.
Wow. Talk about a reality check. Makes you think twice, about taking things for granted. Yeah, talk about trusting your gut, huh? Even when everyone else is telling you, nah, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, this whole thing really drives home just how unpredictable these storms can be.
No kidding, right. And it really highlights this important lesson, for all of us, I think. Sometimes a little bit of skepticism, a little, wait a minute, can actually be what saves the day.
Absolutely. It's like we put all this faith in these structures, in these designs, But at the end of the day...
Mother Nature's going to do what Mother Nature's going to do.
Exactly. It's like that saying, have you heard it? Respect the ocean, even when it's flat.
100%. This whole thing with Hurricane Milton and Tropicana Field, it's a big reminder. Pay attention to those evacuation warnings. Don't just assume, oh, I'm in a sturdy building, I'll be fine.
Yeah, no matter how strong they seem, right? So, okay, let's bring it home. What's the takeaway for our listeners? What can we learn from a baseball stadium that almost turned into a hurricane shelter that ended up losing its roof?
I think it comes down to this. Don't be afraid to question assumptions, even when, especially when, they seem totally reasonable, Those assumptions could be wrong.
And in this case, Thankfully, the Tampa Bay Rays, they had the guts to speak up.
Yeah, they questioned the safety of their own stadium, something that was, let's remember, designed to withstand hurricanes. Who knows what could have happened if they hadn't?
That's what's got me thinking now. What other givens, do we just take for granted in life? What other assumptions could maybe use a closer look? That's something for all of us to ponder, maybe. That's going to do it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And until next time, keep asking those questions.